we're doing is a layer of clay, or dirt, excuse me.
Clay.
It's dirt.
Clay.
And then we're gonna top it off with some potting soil to plant in.
Does this just sit on?
Hey y'all. I'm out here checking our green stalks. Yesterday, Amanda and I and the kids, we filled our green stalks up and planted them. And if you're not familiar with a green stalk, basically it's just like a tower that you can plant and grow in. And it's good for people who don't have a lot of space, or, I mean, even like me, I have a garden, I have the space, but my garden is so far away that harvesting things like herbs or greens while I'm cooking is not very convenient. The reason our garden is so far away is originally we were going to farm, and that's what we started doing. We were selling at our local farmers market, and then life changed and we're not doing that anymore. But to clear a spot and put a spot up by the house just was not a good use of our resources. And the soil down there is so good, and it's such a beautiful spot. The greenhouse is down there. We just left it there for now. But my goal with my green stalk is to put it up at the little cottage so that whoever's staying there has some greens or herbs that they can harvest off of. And I don't know, I just think everyone should have a garden, so I'm gonna make sure if you stay here you have a garden. So I'll show you what I planted in all the little spots, and you can kind of get a better idea of what they look like. So a lot of this stuff we just pulled out of the garden. Like I had some already had some chives. We had bought some lettuce starts, and they were kind of getting a little root bound, so we planted those out. I pulled some oregano off of my bush. I had some volunteer cilantro that was growing in the garden, so I just dug a couple of those up, one for me and Amanda. I have some kale. I also planted a lot of greens. I did some beets as well. Let's see, some parsley. I'm going to try, it got a little cold last night, so these look kind of sad. But I'm trying some tomatoes, so my hope is that it'll kind of just grow along the ground here. Well, up at the cottage. I tried pulling some yarrow out of the garden too, but that looks a little sad. I'm not sure it's gonna make it. And then I've got some basil as well. I'm gonna get a few more herb plants, like some rosemary and some thyme, and maybe some lavender, those sort of things, and put that in here. And then people can just, you know, harvest a salad, harvest some herbs as they're cooking, and if they don't want to, it'll still look beautiful next to it. I also did plant some cucumbers down here as well, that those can hopefully grow along the ground. But everything looks really happy in it so far. Everything that I dug up looks good, or transplanted. Like they look pretty good, even despite it getting cold yesterday. Or last night. I just think they look so pretty, especially when they're like green and bushy and filling in. There's Amanda's. I just think they're pretty cool. Like people who maybe live in an apartment or in a mobile home park. I know a lot of people are here because, you know, we share the whole mobile home life. It's just a great thing, and the name of the company is Greenstalk. I'm not cool enough to be an affiliate. But, hey though, if you want to work together, you just let me know. Anyway, they're just, I think they're getting ready to go on sale. I've been watching them for like the last year, and I finally just dove in and got one, especially knowing now we're going to have that little cottage ready soon. I just think it's just a neat, practical thing. You water it from the top and the water trickles down. They're super sturdy. Once the dirt's in it, they're really heavy. So anyway, there's my little thing, my little spiel. Right now we are, hi little chickens, hi little piggy. We are in our, as the locals call it, blackberry winter. And this is hopefully the last cold snap here in North Georgia. It got down to like the 30s and there was some frost when we left for our homeschool co-op this morning, which is why I'm treating myself to a Dr. Pepper. Oh gosh, those days are so long. I don't know how teachers do it. I have lots of respect for teachers after being a homeschool co-op mom and having to teach classes and work with these kids all day. They're amazing, don't get me wrong, but if you've ever done anything like that, you know it can be a long day. But when we left for co-op this morning, there was some frost on the ground, and it was pretty cold. I wasn't sure how to dress. So hopefully that's the end of it. Our last official frost date here, we're zone 6B, is supposed to be like May 1st or 2nd, but all the locals say don't plant anything cold tolerant, like can't handle the cold until Mother's Day. So I follow that. I tend to listen to the people who know this area the best and have been growing here their whole lives. And I don't plant any of my tomatoes or cold sensitive plants until then. And then peppers, I'm gonna plant out probably the 1st of June. They're just so stunted because it's been kind of up and down in the weather, and I want them to get nice and mature. But I also want to make sure like it stays warm, because even in May there's some days where it'll be a high of 60, which is just crazy. And that's long term, that can change. But I just have found, if like last year we had such a good pepper year, and I think part of that, after hearing other people talk about it, can be attributed to the fact that I planted them like in June, and that was just a fluke. Like I just didn't have time to do it. And man, we had habaneros. Like I didn't even start habaneros this year because I froze so many. You only need like 1 or 2 for your batch of hot sauce. So checking on the garden, since it was pretty frosty, I can see a little bit of frost damage. Like my dahlias that were just like, they just popped up. Like I thought I dug them all up, but I didn't. They are a little zapped on the tops, but I think there's enough there that they'll be okay. We've been planting out a lot of shallots and onions, and those look really good and happy. I even have like a volunteer squash or zucchini here and there, which is really funny, and the garlic looks really good. So it's a win. It's all good. Hopefully that cold weather is behind us, and we're moving on to warmer weather. I'm here for it. I'm just going to do a little walk through the greenhouse and see. I'm sure things need to be watered. Gosh, these bees in here. Don't love that. So one thing Amanda and I have been working on is separating out shallots and onions. So I told her yesterday I'm not going to do what the influencers do. I saw where some people were like heavily sowing onions and shallots in these little cups, and I thought, wow, that's a really great idea. That will save space in the greenhouse. Well, things were just not taking off, and I tried transplanting some at this size and they all died. So I went through and pulled out like some of the bigger ones that are doing better, and I'm separating the smaller, like shrivelly ones, and just giving them some time to grow some more. And then we'll plant them out in the garden. So they'll probably just be kind of late, and it's okay. But these are already, these look like these, where they're kind of just laying down and don't look too great, a few days ago. So they're perking up. And then I've got some peppers, which I have just had to baby along. Like, to even get them to this stage has just been a lot of work. Same with some of the tomatoes. They're just, man, and like, I'm not the only one. I don't understand what has been going on. Looks like I lost one to the cold last night, but I know the weather is so crazy, but still, like, I've started stuff in the greenhouse and have never had a problem like this year. I even wonder if that's why the onions aren't doing as well, because like, I've seen where it works and I've seen where it makes sense. It's just not efficient here, so I'm just not going to do it again, but oh well, it just is what it is. And I've got some really nice looking tomato seedlings. I separated these a while ago, and they've got some crunchy leaves from the cold, but the ones that are coming up in the middle look really good. They're little leaves, so I think they're going to be fine in the long run. We probably won't reach the Mother's Day goal, but it's okay because we have a pretty long growing season, and I'll have plenty of time to have all the tomatoes I can stand. As I'm watering, I'm just kind of looking at all my little seedlings and thinking about what still needs to be done in the garden, and I think I'm just gonna, like, I really need to be more intentional about what I'm doing, and not get kind of caught up in what, you know, people online or whatever are doing in their garden, because what works for them is not working for me. Like the onions, it's not working for me. I wish I would have just planted onions the way I'd been planting them, because it was adequate, it was fine. And then instead I'm going through all of this extra work to go back to the way I did it. So being more intentional about what works for me, what doesn't work for me, using soil blocks because those work well, and just being more intentional. So I think my husband is coming to pick me up. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and may the Lord bless and keep you.